Good afternoon and welcome to the Pinecrest Business Association Member Spotlight. I'm Jennifer Gerson, President of the Pinecrest Business Association, and I'm joined today by the South Florida After-School Allstars. I'm joined by Sean Prospect, the Executive Director, and Adelaide Norellis, the Program Director. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Sean, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, grew up pretty much in South Florida, came down to FIU to go to college and never really left. Fell in love with Miami, fell in love with the community and tried to figure out a way where I could give back. And that's what kind of led me to After-School Allstars.
That's wonderful. So tell me about After-School Allstars, what it is, what you guys do.
So After-School Allstars is a nonprofit organization. We focus on providing out-of-school services, which means after-school and summer camp services to at-risk youth, middle school students, and high school students. It's actually a national organization. Started by Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the late 90s.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah. It used to be called Inner City Games, and it evolved to After School All-Stars because we wanted to do more for the communities. But yeah, we're located currently in 29 schools, 19 middle schools, and 10 high schools, and provide a wide variety of services free of charge at those locations.
And how did it get started down here locally?
So locally, and back in '95, well, let me backtrack. Governor Schwarzenegger wanted to start a nonprofit, and he was involved with Planet Hollywood at the time. So he and every place he opened up a Planet Hollywood, he opened up Inner City Games. So as you know, Planet Hollywood used to be over in Miami Beach.
Yes.
So he opened up Inner City Games.
I remember going to that Planet Hollywood many moons ago.
Yes, and actually the first director was actually Bob Beamon, the Olympian. But then he got called away to the Olympics in 1996 to be their spokesperson. So, but he evolved from there.
Very interesting. Where are you guys located?
So our main office is actually at Florida International University. We went in partnership with them in 2014. So we have offices at the North Campus and the South Campus. But our programs actually take place at the school sites. So what's great about what we do is that we have no overhead. So all funding, all programming expenses, all programming is focused on the at the school site. So we don't have any overhead. We don't have any administrative costs.
Oh, beautiful. That's that it's all given back to the kids at that point then when you don't have the overhead. So we know early intervention is so important in so many different aspects of our life, health, and so on and so forth. So how does the South Florida After School All-Stars play in the early stages of childhood development?
So primarily we start in middle school. And the reason why nationally middle school was a priority is that in most places, almost every elementary school has an after-school program.
Yes.
And has support.
My son went there, but not in middle school.
Now imagine middle school. You're 11, 12, 13, 14. You're going through puberty. You're trying to figure out where you belong. Your physical changes, mental changes. And you're on your own for 3 hours in the after school. Get out at 3 o'clock and you're on your own until 6 p.m. That's not the right time to be in your life to be alone, to find out where you belong. A lot of people go to gangs or go to different things. But they're trying to figure out who they are. So what we provide are comprehensive services. One, our programs are places where we want kids to belong and feel like it's something that they belong to, not something they're attending. We provide academic assistance, and enrichment services, talking about sports, STEM activities, art, music, dance, robotics, a wide variety of services that the communities we serve might not be able to afford on their own, but it's free of charge. It's also fun for the kids since they can learn more about their skills and talents. We also focus on social emotional learning and health and wellness because we want to build a whole child. We want to make sure we are a part of the support system for that child. We know it takes the parents, it takes the school, and also us in partnership with the school to make sure that support. Absolutely.
And a half. So I hate still having to talk about this, but we do. The pandemic, right? So these kids all lost like a year and a half. They were on Zoom. They weren't interacting with each other face to face, person to person. Everything was through a screen, like either through Zoom at school or the Xbox or whatever they played to socialize with each other. So have you seen an uptick in assaults or depression or how these kids are behaving since the pandemic?
Well, one thing we noticed is that since they were home for almost 2 years, when it comes to social interaction, they're behind 2 years.
Yeah.
So for instance, when our sixth graders came in and came back to full school, they asked the teachers also, do we have to stand in line? Do we have to stand in line when we're walking through the hallways, which is something you do in fourth grade.
Right.
Once we told them they didn't have to, they ran everywhere because they still had the mentality of a fourth grader when it came to school. Obviously, after school, while we take place in the school, is a different environment, but you have to have rules in place regardless. So it's kind of that maturity balance was thrown off completely, and I think, which is why I think there's an uptake in all these other areas because they're not.
I agree. And, I have a son. He was in 5th grade when they all got sent home on spring break. It didn't go back, right? And I'm going to tell you something seen from his perspective, from a 12-year-old's perspective, right? So, he was, when school, as soon as school opened, I sent him back in October of 6th grade. And so half the school didn't come back. And then when that other half of the school came back, I guess it was the end of the school year when they all started coming back in, he's like, Mom, they don't have a social group. Like they've created like their own group of kids because, the kids kind of pair off because they're all starting middle school. They're all starting a new school. There's kids from 3 different feeder schools instead of that one school now. They were all kind of lost. And it was kind of sad that these kids were lost. And I would imagine that would contribute to all of these things because now, they're trying to fit in or they're not fitting in and they're acting out because they're not fitting in. And there's just so many other things that we didn't even probably think about at first that the pandemic has caused with these kids.
Right. And one thing,
I'm sorry, I went off on my soapbox.
No, you're absolutely right.
But as a mom, like I'm seeing it for a kid that's going through puberty, which God help me. But
yeah. But you're absolutely right. That's why also we consider ourselves a safe space for kids to express themselves and have adults that listen to them because there's so much going on around them, especially with the pandemic. And at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a lot of basically social injustice issues going on. So we have a lot of kids asking questions and not getting answers. So it's a space for them to be themselves, but also to communicate and have their voices heard, which I think is very important, especially for mental health.
And you're not just communicating with the kids, you're communicating with their families as well. It's kind of like a whole, I would imagine.
So we had to adapt what we did once the pandemic hit. So like once it hit right away, we adapted to web-based services, online services, but we knew we couldn't have the kids online for 3 hours after school. After it didn't make any sense.
After being online for school all day.
Right.
Exactly.
So one thing we did is we pivoted and we gave out, I want to say, $116,000 worth of public gift cards to the staff and to the students' homes just to make sure that they had those food resources because we give them meals every day. So we did that. And as we did that, we can check in on the families because the good part of our model is we employ a lot of certified teachers in the school system, over 200, and they have connections with the kids already. So this is deepen the connection. So when we were doing different things, we had more opportunities to check up on the kids and the family, see how they're doing.
Because a lot of these kids go to school to eat. You're talking about the public gift cards. So it's so important to be able to still provide them the nourishment that they need because without going to school, that was kind of limited for them too.
That's correct.
Did you know, well, I know the statistic because we just did a fundraiser for the Credit Union Foundation that I'm a part of. There's 9,000 homeless kids that go to school in Miami-Dade County. That's staggering. And 600 of them don't, and I know you guys know these numbers, but just so everybody else knows, 600 of them don't even have a parent or a guardian, which it's outrageous. And we just did a fundraiser for the prom boutique for the kids that are identified to go to the prom boutique. You know about the prom boutique, right? Yes. So yes, we did an adult prom. We did a charity prom gala and we raised money for the prom boutique because we went there last year when we were donating backpacks and they're like, oh, do you want a tour? Of course we want a tour. And when they took us in there, I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm like, we need to raise money for this. I truly, I work for a credit union. Credit unions are all about people helping people, the philosophy. And it was really, really nice to be able to have that event come to fruition and raise money for these kids. But yeah, I mean, what you guys do is so, so important. So what makes the All-Stars program different than other programs?
So one, it's not a babysitting service. It's not a drop-in program. We're very intentional in what we do. Everything you do has a focus of career exploration. And also career exploration, career readiness, and college readiness. We want to make sure that every child, we believe it's a choice to go to college. If you feel that the career path and your interest doesn't align to that, that's fine, but it's not because you can't get in. There's your economic status and where you grew up shouldn't dictate the opportunities that
Of
you have,
course.
and we strongly believe that. So we are trying to provide access to opportunity to eliminate those barriers as much as possible. I know Adley could probably speak more about.
I was
how we
just
do
going to say, this
on the
is
high
a
school piece.
great segue
Yes.
to Adelaide, because
Yeah.
he's in charge of the high school program. So before we start talking about the high school program, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I grew up here in Miami, Florida. I was born in Haiti, came to here at the age of 7 and grew up here, went to college, a couple of years at FIU, then transferred to UCF. So got the feel of being away to college for a while, and then lived in Orlando for some time, and then came back down here to Miami for my master's degree at FIU and began working here in the admissions office here at FIU for some time. And after many years of working in admissions and working with kids, trying to get them to go to college, I moved over to the pre-college side, trying to help them be better prepared for their dreams and aspirations. So that's how I was able to work with Sean and really develop an amazing high school program.
Tell us about the high school program.
Oh, the high school program right now, we're located at 9 high schools in Dade County. And we have also one Broward school as well that we work with. We provide a holistic approach to the student. So we focus on their mental health. We focus on college exploration. So we believe that any student that wants to go to college will have access to it. You give me any student, regardless of the background, wherever their grade level, I could get them to go to college, whether it's starting at the community college to a 4-year institution or even Ivy League. We would be able to get you to go there.
That. That's so amazing.
In terms of the college exploration, in addition to that, we tie in the career piece as well. So, it's one thing to have the educational component, but you also have to have that final carrot. What is it that you want to do as far as career? And now in high school is when they're able to develop the affinity for their career. We all know careers and give us identity, give us purpose. So this preparing them now and exposing them to different careers, different majors, different aspect about the process makes it so much easier for them, and they really get engaged and really start to appreciate that.
So what is the Opportunity Jobs Academy?
Well, the Opportunity Jobs Academy is an amazing partnership we have with ChickfilA. So we have a group of students that receive instruction on a weekly basis at our target schools. So they receive resume writing, interviewing skills, the concept of work. What does it mean to work? They discuss all kind of issues that's involved in the career development piece. In addition to that, they go to ChickfilA, the stores, and actually get the hands-on opportunity to learn from the different parts of the restaurant as well. So it's and then at the end, we bring them onto campus, FIU campus, and we do this amazing graduation ceremony for them as well.
So I know Chick-fil-A has an amazing training program, right?
Yeah.
So do some of them get the opportunity to get a job at Chick-fil-A when they go through this process?
Yes, they can absolutely get a job at Chick-fil-A. Again, the goal of it is not necessarily just to do that, but it's the exposure. But many of the students have done well and expressed interest in working at Chick-fil-A. And at a couple of the Chick-fil-A in the North Miami area, we actually have students graduating from our program working at these Chick-fil-A.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
They're supposed to be an amazing company to work for.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're very selective in terms of who we provide services to our kids with, and they've been truly outstanding to the level of service. And obviously, regardless of I love the food, regardless of what you
Who
think
doesn't?
of the food.
Those
customer
chicken
service,
nuggets
yeah.
are just like outrageous, right?
Yes.
My favorite there is they have this like Cobb salad. I love their Cobb salad, no bacon, with the low fat honey mustard dressing. Like my mouth is watering right now. I'm starving. But and I think you even have to work there for a year before you can even own a franchise.
So,
I think I heard that somewhere.
Well, the key is they have their owners. To be fully invested. You'll never find somebody who owns like 7 Chick-fil-A's or 10 Chick-fil-A's. You're an owner operator. So if you own it, it's a long recruiting process. We just left one just now because we had an opportunity jobs seminar before we got here. And the owner said, yeah, he was waiting for 4 years to get his
Really?
Mhm.
his application and stuff because of the location. Obviously, South Florida now they're blowing up everywhere.
Mhm.
But
Well, they
he's
need to be. We don't have
Yes.
enough of them.
he has the number one Chick-fil-A in the United States
Which is where?
on Kendall
Really?
Drive. Yes.
Yeah.
But his story, but he shares with the kids, and it's an experience. It's an experience that they can always take away to say, okay, I've learned this not only how to run a restaurant, but how to run a business, how to
Mhm.
pre-order different things. It's a lot of operational stuff they learn as well, including customer service.
I
'Cause
was,
one
I
thing
was
I've
just
said,
going to say customer service is the key.
like regardless of your taste in food, and I love Chick-fil-A, you can't say you don't have good customer service at Chick-fil-A.
Fantastic. That's why they do so well.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also a series of skills that they carry with them from job to job. So we teach them you're marketing yourself, and the more skills, the more tools you add to your toolbox, the more marketable you are. So this Chick-fil-A
And that goes on
partnership is
for
amazing.
life.
Yeah, it's for life. Whether you're going to be a doctor, you're going to have to provide customer service. Excellent.
Whether you're going to be a
customer service.
doctor or a
Yeah.
plumber,
anything.
or a manager at a restaurant, it carries through
It
life.
carries.
You need those fundamentals.
Yes.
Soft skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true. So I obviously I have totally enjoyed our conversation today. Where can people that are watching learn more about the All-Stars program?
Well, I guess 2 places. One is on our website,
Mhm.
sfasas.org. Stands for South Florida After-School Allstars. You'll see a variety of our programs. We actually have a fee-based program, a fee-based elementary school program through the school district, and any revenue from that goes to help mix the middle school and high school program.
Is that an after-school program?
That's an after-school program. That's the basic elementary after-school program. Also, our middle school and high school programs are affiliated with FIU. So if you search FIU College of Arts, Sciences, and Education, you'll find out about there more in detail, because that partnership has really expanded what we can do, working closely with admissions, working closely with professors in different departments to have kids see, okay, based on your interest, the university has so many different colleges and so many different programs. They can see specifically, okay, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse. Well, there's a nursing camp. What does that look like? Like, oh, I remember one kid said they want to do that. And then one summer they had to cut open something and they saw blood. Like, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. Okay, at least you know. At least you know. In other cases, it's been the opposite. So
I chose to do the reports in high school instead of having to cut open the frog. I did the worm, but past the worm, I was like, I can't do this. But yes,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
awesome.
amazing. So they have trade specific camps that they could go to based on what their interests are at that level.
That is correct. And we're working to expand. So obviously we are closely knit with FIU, but we try to partner with anybody who's the top of their craft, because we offer a lot of stuff. We can't be a master of everything.
Of course.
So we partner with different organizations, different nonprofits, and different entities so they can bring their expertise in, because our goal is to provide access to opportunity. So if these things would cost money before and different things, we can provide you free of charge through our partnerships.
Right. So if somebody wanted to help or volunteer or donate, how would they go about doing that?
Well, one is through our website. Our main line is 305-348-7904. But the website is probably the best place. And like I said, we are all over the county. We're all the way down in Homestead and Redlands. We're up in North Miami Beach, Hialeah, and everywhere in between.
So one end of the county to the other, and one
Absolutely.
location in Broward, which is where?
Hallandale.
Hallandale. So before we close our discussion, I know you have an event coming up in June. Tell us about it.
Yes. So coming up is our first annual golf tournament. It's at Mel Reese, so it's going to be the last function before it carries over to the soccer. I guess that's what the soccer stadium is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to close out the Mel Reese golf course, we're having a golf tournament there. There'll be NFL players. There'll be it's a lot of fun. We don't want to make it a regular dry golf tournament. We'll be engaging and fun because we're a kid-centered organization.
We need to talk. I
Yes.
host a very successful golf tournament every year, and I have some ideas for you. Or I would love to volunteer too if you
Nice.
have volunteer opportunities.
Very
But-
nice.
So does the golf tournament have its own website, or it's on your website?
It's on our website, but the best way to reach out would be to call our director of development, Gussie Flynn. That's 305-348-9870.
And do you still have room for golfers?
Absolutely.
Do you still have room for sponsorships?
They're going quickly, but we have room for sponsorships. So if you're going to call soon.
Call soon. They have room for sponsorships and for golf on the last time you're going to get to play a tournament at Maurice. So
Yes.
that's a great selling point. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I've loved this conversation. I hope everybody out there has learned something new about the All-Stars program. And again, you can go to sfasas.org for the South Florida After-School Allstars program. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
The Pinecrest Business Association, we have our next luncheon on next Tuesday, coming up next week at Evelyn Greer Park. Our speaker is the one and only Ron McGill, who we all know is a fantastic speaker. He always brings such a great energy to the room. So please, if you haven't RSVP'd, go to pinecrestbusiness.com. Reserve your space for our luncheon. We've got Ron as the speaker, Lime is the caterer, great food, great speakers, great networking. That's what we're all about. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you again. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the Miller Brothers for hosting us, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you, everybody.